Hello, my subject is when good brand ambassadors go bad. We're all accustomed to seeing celebrities spending their lives in the spotlight, where every tweet, Instagram post, and paparazzi photograph is forever captured in cyberspace. Something is bound to go wrong and everybody's going to know about it. This report explores what companies can do to protect themselves. I've chosen to look at two famous examples, both of them involving athletes. As you may have guessed, I'm looking at the infamous Tiger Woods scandal. In 2009, after a bizarre car crash outside his Florida home, details began to emerge about Tiger Woods' prolific, ongoing extramarital affairs. As the weeks passed, more and more girlfriends were identified in the press. Where did he get the time, we wondered. Woods provided no explanation, comment, or apology. He hunkered down and he hid. As a result of this, he lost the majority of his corporate sponsorships, including AT&T, Accenture, Gatorade, and Buick, at an estimated cost to him of $22 million. At this time, Woods was the #1 rated player in the world. 90% of his income wasn't from winning golf championships, but from his endorsements. On the sponsor side of the equation, the Harvard Business Report estimates that companies with whom Woods was associated lost $12 billion in stock values as share prices plummeted in the wake of the scandal. Eventually, Woods crept out and made a half-hearted, scripted apology and withdrew for some time from professional golf and from the public eye. Interestingly enough, two companies stuck by Woods, Gillette and Nike. We'll look at the Gillette relationship a little further along in the report. The second example I'm using is that of Lance Armstrong. You may remember the case, though I know many of you were really young at the time. In 2012, details were finally revealed corroborating Armstrong's use of performance-enhancing drugs. After years and years of denial, these facts came to light. The United States Anti-Doping Agency formally laid charges and they conducted a full investigation. He was eventually found guilty, which resulted in the loss of his 7 Tour de France titles, 1 Olympic bronze medal, and he was banned for life from competitive cycling. So what did this mean in terms of money and influence for Armstrong? He lost 11 sponsorship deals, including Nike, at a cost to him of approximately $150 million in lost endorsements. His namesake, the Livestrong Foundation, demanded his immediate resignation. He had been chosen as the face of the foundation because of his strength and determination in overcoming cancer and becoming an ambassador for hope over adversity. This disgraced athlete found that there wasn't a charity or a brand that wanted to be anywhere near him. Now we'll look at endorsements from the perspective of the companies who do the hiring. Celebrity endorsements form part of an overall marketing strategy, of course the purposes of which are to build brand awareness, bolster the brand's positive image, and ultimately to drive sales. Companies need to look at not only their financial goals, but their aspirations along a broader spectrum to include questions of social justice, corporate responsibility and transparency, as well as cultural sensitivity. It needs to know what it stands for before it can determine who should stand for it in the public's consciousness. So how should the selection process be accomplished? It has to be the right fit. The celebrity endorser needs to embody the core values of the company itself. And the collaboration between the brand and the endorser has to make sense to the public. It needs to be a good fit and it needs to be authentic. The constant scrutiny of social media is swift to spot inconsistencies in messaging, which will affect the bottom line. If the endorsement seems insincere, or if, heaven forbid, the endorser is seen using the competition's products, that's going to result in a lot of really bad online chat. I suggest that potential brand ambassadors go through the type of opposition research which political parties put their candidates through. They should go through all of their social media posts going back as far as they possibly can, doing criminal background checks, and contracts should outline exactly what is and isn't acceptable behavior for the endorser. Some companies choose to keep disgraced celebrities, and others fire them as soon as possible. So why and what determines this course of action? We hear a lot about brand personality, and I think we know what that means. In this case, Nike, for instance, Nike's seen as a bit of a rebel, an outsider. You look at Kellogg's cereal, you think family values, conservative family values. The brand personality is what often determines whether or not the relationship is continued or if it's severed. And everything is personal, especially business. In Wood's case, he began working with Nike at the very start of his career in 1996. It was a meteoric rise. He was an absolute sensation. Nike hadn't had any position in the golf industry whatsoever. When the scandal erupted in 2009, they'd had a 13-year-long relationship. And also, whether or not a company can weather the storm of public controversy comes down to finance. Can it absorb these costs, and how long can it keep doing it for? Once again, using Nike as an example, it has deep pockets and a very strong brand identity, so it could. Whether or not a relationship is ended depends if the bad behavior was related to the celebrity's professional life. In Armstrong's case, his scandal couldn't have been more closely aligned with his professional life. His doping likely determined the outcome of 7 Tour de France tournaments. Wood's affairs were seedy and a bit tasteless, but they had absolutely nothing to do with his performance on the golf course. It's also important to establish whether or not the celebrity was truly at fault. Humiliated celebrities who've had their naked pictures distributed over the internet are treated far differently than people who commit actual crimes. I ran across the work of 2 professors by the name of Hopp from the University of Connecticut and Rathel from the University of Berlin. They made an empirical study of the effects of celebrity scandals on 230 US companies over the space of 28 years, from 1998 to 2016. Here are a few of their findings regarding these disgraced celebrity endorsers. 59% were athletes, 24% were radio and television personalities, 17% were musicians, and overall 70% were male. I'm going to let you make of that what you will. But it definitely shows that certain categories of celebrity bring higher rates of risk. They also discovered that of the 230 individual incidents that they studied, half of these occurred between 2010 and 2016. This leads them to conclude that incident rates are escalating, and they're expected to continue to do so. And with the prevalence of social media, I believe that whether they're escalating or not, we're certainly seeing more of them. They did make another very surprising discovery. They found that some companies actually increased their share values and came out ahead in the wake of public scandal. How is this possible, you wonder? So did I. Here's what they discovered. How a company was affected by scandal depended entirely upon how they chose to deal with it. Those who stood up and took responsibility swiftly, honestly, and they were completely transparent with the public, in many cases, they received a boost to the bottom line. Removing uncertainty was one of these factors. The stock market hates uncertainty more than anything. By conducting themselves openly and honestly, scandal offered an opportunity for growth and positive brand management. I have a few recommendations for companies who are considering celebrity endorsements. And I can't help myself, forgive me. I'm going to share a quote from Don Draper, the character from Mad Men, who said, "Endorsements are lazy." Endorsements can be part of a larger advertising strategy rather than becoming the entire focus of a campaign and allowing a particular individual to become the face of a company. There are many other avenues available for marketers, including the use of real people. Dove does this, and it's been very popular. There are ads promoting social justice done by some insurance companies. And Subaru, they use dogs. Yes, dogs. and Charlotte the Chic Cavalier is definitely available for a reasonable fee. Whether or not to use a celebrity depends on the type of product you're promoting as well. Products which need to be shown in use, such as sports equipment, are more likely to make use of celebrity endorsements. Now, what do companies do when scandal strikes? Firstly, conduct an immediate investigation. Is it true? Assess the potential damage to the bottom line. A sincere apology must be made quickly and delivered with complete honesty. A 3-day timeline is optimal for the apology to have the greatest amount of impact. Silence is death. Saying nothing is not an option. It only gets worse as the moments tick by. Scandal can be an opportunity to connect more directly with consumers and hear what they have to say. It's a way to allow the organization to become more humanized in the eyes of consumers and a route to defining its values and vision of the future in a new way. A brand needs to be open to criticism. A scandal can provide a chance to learn things they wouldn't have otherwise known. It's an unorthodox approach to marketing research, but it can result in very valuable insights. I think celebrity endorsements are here to stay. The rise of social media influencers is evidence of this. Just as surely we can conclude that scandals will erupt, and when they do, brands have to make real amends in powerful, substantive ways, and they have to be seen in the public eye doing just that. A brand caught in the glare of social disgrace has the eyes of the world upon them. The best response is use the opportunity. Show bravery, embrace change. There are many ways to create brand awareness, and strangely enough, it turns out that scandal happens to be one of them. Thank you so much for listening.